Back to Studio B alongside Jerem Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton. This is your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play, and we are pleased to welcome in on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline via Zoom BYU basketball assistant coach Nick Robinson. Nick, welcome back. I saw a tweet yesterday about BYU basketball staff and players being excited to get back to work in the lab. So how is the lab right now for you as a staff?
Well, as a staff, our lab has been primarily in Zoom. So it's great to be with you guys, great to be with Sports Nation. But, we want to be able to get back to the lab, get back to the Marriott Center Annex, as soon as safely possible. And, we're staying in touch with our guys on a regular basis. Staff meets every day, and we're as busy as we can be. So it's a good time in life, all things considered, and trying to move forward as much as possible.
And you guys are absolutely busy. We're seeing all kinds of tweets of guys with BYU in their final 5 or 10, right? What is left to do in recruiting for the upcoming season for you guys?
Yeah, so in terms of recruiting, I mean, right now we are very active, like a lot of programs, but we're trying to, continue to fill a little bit of a need, right? But also fill, the remaining roster spots that we have. We felt like we got a great addition in Matt Harms, recently. Obviously, we've got a great recruiting class overall, but we feel like, getting an additional ball handler, finisher, and a guy that, likes to shoot threes like we all do, could be a real, beneficial addition to this team.
Is that a guy that you need to be able to play this year?
We'd like to think that, everybody on the roster right now is excited about competing, right, for minutes and for time and, to help us move this team forward in the right direction. So, yes, at this point, as we're recruiting, we're looking for, guys that are, excited about the opportunity to do exactly the same thing, right? Come in and compete and earn an opportunity to be a part of a top 2025 program.
Nick, if you could quantify, how confident are you that BYU will land at least one more transfer some point in the near future based on your aggressive recruiting in the transfer portal?
I think that, Coach Pope, Coach Burgess, Coach Feger, right over the years, have had considerable success, with guys that have transferred, right, that have been able to develop their game and, remake, their image and who they are. I mean, we looked just this past year in Alex Barcelo and what an incredible transformation, right, that he has had. You look at Jake Toolson and the story that he rewrote, capping it off this past season. So, we're confident that, we'll be able to move forward with another quality transfer, in the coming weeks or months, and, add an additional individual that's really excited about BYU basketball and what we have to offer as a team, as a staff, and as a program.
I just had a marketing idea, Transfer Nation, but it's transfer like the kind of transfer you're pursuing, not transformation. Yeah, okay. I'll talk to Dave Broberg. We'll get on it.
Yeah, let's talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you're a guy that stayed at Stanford the whole time, but Mark Pope moved from Washington to Kentucky, and Chris Burgess obviously moved from Duke to Utah. So they had an experience that they had an awesome experience one place, but a better experience perhaps somewhere else that fit them better. So that makes sense. So let's talk about scheduling because you've been dubbed, you're the scheduling guy, right? So I would think now, Nick, that everyone has time to hear what BYU has to offer and vice versa in terms of scheduling. Is it harder? Is it easier right now in that process?
In terms of the process of scheduling games, it's always, an opportunity as well as a challenge. Right now, BYU were, considered to be a quad one, right, game. When you're looking at the final, the final net, right, rankings, as well as what the NCAA tournament committee is looking for on their game sheets, right? And so for us, we provide tremendous opportunity for a variety of programs, right? The other quad one top 30 teams, to be able to play BYU looks really good for them. for some of the teams that are going to be in the top of their league, moving forward, BYU is a great game for them, right? And so, there's always challenges with scheduling in terms of figuring out, dates, which opponents make the most sense for us. How does that balance, right? Our home game schedule, for fans, what is our road game schedule like? So, there's always challenges that are associated with scheduling games. But right now, looking at our schedule, we like what's we're dealing with as of right now. We've got a few pieces that we've got to puzzle together. But as we do so, I think that BYU Nation is going to be excited about the potential that we have headed into next year.
Nick, I know you can't talk about all the specifics of teams that are potentially on the schedule, but San Diego State has been announced. Various reports have put Oregon in the mix, and we're looking forward to the Utah.
Just wink if Oregon's on the schedule, Nick. Just wink. Just kidding.
But we all are wondering, because of something Mark Pope said a little while ago about, hey, BYU fans are going to be really excited about some potential blue bloods coming down the line in scheduling. So what can you tell us in regard to seeing some big-time opponents potentially on future schedules?
Yeah, I think that, as a staff, we're working really hard, right, to be able to, speak with, some of the blue blood programs, right, and in terms of future scheduling, whether that's this year, next year, or the year after, I think we've got, some really neat opportunities that might be out there for us to be able to, bring some folks here to the Marriott Center, as well as some opportunities at neutral sites. But I think what everybody's excited for is, the opportunity to have, top 30 program, in the Marriott Center. And, we had that experience last year and it went pretty well for us. So we're excited about the future as well.
It went well a couple of times, which is awesome, dramatically. It was exciting. The AP reported that the women's basketball is going to use the net as well. They also mentioned in the article that the men's net will be tweaked a little bit. They'll look at that. If you had your druthers, do you have any issues with net? Do you want any tweaks with how that happens, that formula, or do you like it?
I think overall the net has proven to be pretty efficient. The only thing I don't like about the net is that they release it, at the end of November, early December. And so, the numbers, or maybe a little bit later than that, but the numbers can be very, very skewed at that point in time in the year. But, overall, it's been consistent change since I've been in the business in terms of what metrics the NCAA selection committee is using. And so, right now they're using the net, as a balance, right? There's other metrics they can continue to use, but we're going to go with the system that's in place right now, and schedule accordingly and try to put ourselves in the best situation possible to where we have an NCAA worthy resume each and every year.
Okay, it's safe to say we'll start paying attention to the net rankings in January.
Nick, we have a daily show. We need content like that. I don't know what your needs are, but we need it.
Nick, I do want to ask you before you go, your colleague and fellow assistant coach Chris Burgess was honored yesterday as one of the top assistants in mid-major college basketball, and you were quick to add your voice of approval on social media. What does Chris Burgess mean to BYU basketball? And tell us a little bit about what he does best.
Well, I think for me, when I feel extremely fortunate to be able to work with the staff that we have. I mean, Coach Pope, right, is incredible, right? Coach Burgess is incredible. Coach Feger is amazing, right? I mean, Coach Keegan and Coach Bobby. I mean, those guys, are all working extremely hard, and we do it to, for Coach Burgess to be able to get some recognition, that's awesome. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And so, Coach Burgess, like I said in the tweet, hey, he can still shoot. I'm not sure that's, the best thing that he does at this point in time in his career, but he can still shoot that thing. But, in terms of his, player development, his ability to recruit, his ability to be able to relate, right, to individuals and establish relationships, within our program, without the program, I get an opportunity to learn from him every day, like I do Coach Feger and Coach Pope and the rest of the staff. And so, obviously, hats off to Coach Burgess, and excited about, the growth that he has ahead of him, as well as all of our growth as a staff.
Coach, it's great to talk to you about the state of scheduling, recruiting, and Chris Burgess' shot. Always a pleasure. So let's do it again soon, and we hope for your sake you can get back into the lab with all your flasks and work on the chemistry of that team.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. You guys are enjoying the lab still, so yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in the lab.
Right on, man. We'll talk to you again soon. Nick
All right,
Robinson
take care, guys.
on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.